Good afternoon, NAIFA. I just returned from another NAIFA trip, and I am so happy to be in my office and on this webinar with all of you. It's my opportunity to bring some news from the field, and that excites me tremendously. So one of the most common questions I get when I'm out there traveling for NAIFA goes something like this. Oh, Jill, how's your year going? Seriously, they look at me with this sort of forlorn look, as if they're feeling sorry for me. And truly, my immediate response is amazing. And I see them perk up a little bit. I say amazing because NAIFA members are making things happen. Look, I think once we finally made the commitment to change and we started to see the possibilities, people started taking advantage of opportunities that were out there, and that was incredible. And speaking of incredible, it's an incredible time in our association's history. We're trending upward, we're creating new deliverables, and we're having a really good time doing it. People are asking to join. People are becoming members, and companies are really giving support. So I have heard its work, and I've heard that, yes, change is tough sometimes. We've had a little bit of growing pains, but I can assure you that our staff and our volunteer leaders are in lockstep for moving forward with true purpose. When I travel for NAIFA, I get to experience firsthand the shift that's happening, and I think it's a cultural shift within our membership. Things are ramping up to a really dynamic level, and I'm seeing this in states all over the country. There is a frenzy of activity happening. I won't get into a lot of the details. I would just share with you a couple of things I've seen out there. I've had the opportunity to sit in board meetings, and I've been at your conferences and in pretty high-powered packed fundraisers as well as industry events. And being able to experience what happens there and the conversations that are happening shows me that you are putting your stamp on all of this and you are owning it. And it is truly encouraging. In my short field report, I'll just let you know that recently I returned from Iowa, where they filmed the most recent NAIFA Live, and the house was packed. And I have to tell you, that is a cold state. It was freezing, but it was not cold in the room. It was absolutely warm and engaging, and the attendees were engaged and they were growing. That was exceptional. And then shortly thereafter, I found myself in Southern California, and they were doing their women's panel. Their theme that weekend was Indomitable, and I can tell you the 5 brilliant women that were on that panel were nothing short of powerful. They were sharing their stories to another packed room of NAIFA members and non-members. It was a Saturday in Los Angeles. And then real quickly, I was back in Texas at an industry event just last week where we had the opportunity to hear from leadership and managers. Everyone I spoke with expressed their support of NAIFA's changes, and they were complimenting you as leaders and members on a fantastic start to this new year. So here we are. We continue to demonstrate our collective strength. We also remained very focused on our young advisors as we continue to innovate and help them find effective ways to be successful in this field. It's our commitment to make sure they're prepared to take their rightful place as the next generation of NAIFA leaders and industry greats. So there's a new reality, and our members are showing us what it means everywhere we look. One last thing before I hand it off to Kevin Mayo, our CEO. I'm very happy to say I just got a report late last night that we are growing in new members. Our new membership is up 59%. And in 2018, we had 3 months where we exceeded 100 or more new members. And we've already done the same thing in 2019. We've exceeded 100 new members during the month of January, February, and March. Congratulations, NAIFA. And now, Kevin Mayu, take it to the next step. You there? Kevin, you're on.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, it is.
All right. Great. Thanks, Jill.
He was speechless. He was so excited. He was speechless.
We've had an incredibly busy first quarter implementing the NAIFA 2020 strategic plan. I want to talk about a couple of the key things we've done there. One, we now are one NAIFA. We are one association that is focused on delivering a high quality member experience to all of our members across the country, no matter where they live. We're one strong national association with 50 different state chapters and about 40 large local chapters around the country, and a number of other local affiliates that are all working together in conjunction to deliver a high quality member experience all across this country. I tell you, this model has been greatly embraced by many throughout the industry. Company leaders love it. It is easy to tell the story when folks say, hey, I'm interested in NAIFA, tell me more about it. I haven't decided which local I want to join, not having to worry about that anymore. And also being able, when they ask, hey, what does it cost for me to join NAIFA? Us being able to tell them because we have the unified national due structure. With this, we've got accountability and transparency across the board. And this is being, again, like I said before, embraced enthusiastically across the country. We've also modernized our staffing structure to be much more nimble, to adjust to the needs of our members, to be able to do things across the entire country, to be able to share best practices. And then we've restructured, again, our team to be able to work directly with our state chapters so that they can deliver, again, that consistent, high-quality member experience throughout the entire country. Part of all this change, though, and all the things going on necessitates that we do some rebranding in NAIFA. And with the rebranding, we've got to help basically tell our story. So many folks sit back and they think about NAIFA, but they might think about it with an image of what NAIFA did or didn't do in the past. And that image of what NAIFA really was maybe a local experience that was great in some cases, but was inconsistent. So we've got to go out and be able to tell the story about where NAIFA's heading, why we're heading there, and the historic changes that we've made, again, to be a nimble, responsive association to serve the needs of today's advisors and tomorrow's. So with that, we've got this rebranding initiative that we started last fall. And with that, we want to be able to speak with a powerful collective voice. Part of that is going to be telling the story of our association, but also telling the story of the individual members of our association and the great work that they do serving their clients every day. And to help best tell those collective stories, we need input from everyone in the Federation. We need input from our leaders particularly. And so we're asking everyone to complete a member survey. A link to the member survey was sent out just last Friday. And if you did not receive it, double check your various email inboxes, including your spam filter, and take a few minutes and complete the survey. The more data we get, the more responses we get, the more input and perspective we get, the better we can do as we go about this rebranding exercise. In addition, we can also, you can find a link to that survey available through the leader section of the website and also on the AT blog. There's a link there as well. So please fill that out and help us do our best as we rebrand our association and better tell our story as an association, but also the story of the members inside of NAIFA. So we've also done some other great stuff that's been happening in the first quarter of 2019. First of all, like our president just said, we're growing. And what a great feeling that is. We've had about 400 advisors step up and join NAIFA just so far in 2019. That's less than 3 months into the year. That many new folks have stepped up and joined. And we're celebrating that success regularly on our website. You see on the screen in front of you an example is how we're recognizing new members by saying who they are and what state that they come from, so we can, again, celebrate that success. We're recognizing our new members with a welcome message, again, saying, hey, we're glad that you joined our association. NAIFA can do a lot for you, but also you can do a lot to help out your clients by being actively engaged in the work that we do as NAIFA every single day. And so look for the updated list that will appear as new members join in the membership section of NAIFA.org. And let's see. We also, as we're attracting new members, we're attracting them in a variety of ways. And one of the ways is through our Advisor Ambassador Program. And this is a way in which folks can experience, again, what NAIFA has to offer. And it's just going through a 30-minute exercise once a week for a month where they can learn, again, what this association is all about and how it's of value to them. It's really a great way to attract non-members to join. And with that, we've already, just for the months of April and May, had more than 200 people sign up for classes, both in, again, April and in May. which we think will result in a large number of them becoming active members of our association. So creative things we're doing to educate people as to who we are, what we do, the benefits that we bring, show them what they'll get out of being a member of NAIFA, and then ask them to join after they've had a chance to basically kick the proverbial tires and find out about what we're all about. A couple of other improvements we've made so far in 2019. One, you've probably noticed that we've consolidated the various communication pieces we send out and condensed them into basically one Friday newsletter that goes out each week to our members. We think that's a great way where they can get all the pertinent information and we don't clutter their inbox. And hopefully with that, folks will read that once a week special newsletter that comes out. Now, that still doesn't mean that we won't occasionally have some periodic emails which require immediate attention, such as something that's happening on the advocacy front where we need our members to jump in quickly. But at least this is one email they'll get once a week that consolidates the various communications coming from the various NAIFA departments. In addition, we launched the new NAIFA 2020 member experience online. Again, what this does is it onboards our people and gives them an opportunity throughout the year to, again, learn about our resources so that folks don't join, figure they didn't get a lot out of it, and then drop out of the association in a year. This is a year-long onboarding process where, again, they get to experience all the great stuff that we have to offer as NAIFA. And we'll talk more about that in a second. The other thing we brought on board, which we're going to talk about a little more in a few minutes, is NAIFA Live, an incredible new program that delivers a high-quality, potentially CE earning experience to our members, no matter where they're located. Just this past week, we launched the Limited and Extended Care Planning Center. And then finally, we've got this new way of recognizing the great work that our members do. And again, like we talked about through the rebranding, telling their stories so that folks see that NAIFA members really do serve Main Street USA, average everyday Americans who need help putting together the right financial plan for their future. The NAIFA 2020 member experience itself is a 12-month period which can onboard new members in a NAIFA, but also if we've got a person who's been a member for a while but may not be familiar with all of the different resources that NAIFA offers, it's a way to introduce them to those resources. So again, for new members and also a refresher per se for newer members or folks that just maybe want to, again, see what does NAIFA have to offer today that might be different than what I recall it offering in the past. It's a great way to show that being a member of our association is so much more than what people expect. You know, that we've got great professional development opportunities, great networking opportunities, great ways for you to learn to be a great advisor, and advocacy that we give our members at the state and federal levels every single day. So with that, we're hoping that that folks will take advantage of this and it'll help them take better advantage of what we offer so they can be stronger advisors. They can do better for themselves, their families, their companies, and their clients, and be even more effective moving forward because of the best-in-class training and networking opportunities that every advisor gets by being a member of NAIFA. During the course of Q1, through this NAIFA 2020 member experience, we've had monthly webinars that have been geared to help folks, again, understand who and what we do and understand, or at least get a chance to sample a lot of our major programming. You see on the screen in front of you what we did in January, February, and March, and how during that we talked about what NAIFA is all about and gave them an orientation. We gave them an opportunity to attend a client cast power session live, which is a great opportunity to grow as a professional, and then talked a lot about our basics in advocacy, and again, how the work that everyone working together as a collective whole makes a huge difference in advancing things on the public policy front. Each of these webinars are archived, and so if folks can't make the presentation, they can always view them later whenever it's convenient for them by accessing that information via our website. And it's on the membership section of NAIFA.org. During the next quarter, here's just a kind of a preview of some of the stuff we've got. You've got personal coaching with Dan Finley in the month of April. In May, we've got, we're talking about the various publications, papers, and research that's done. Absolutely tremendous work. Our communications team, our various task forces and others have done, producing white papers and knowledge to help advance the profession, help us understand how to reach out to diverse audiences, et cetera. And it'll highlight a lot of those things. And then in the month of June, we'll talk about the great work that our Political Action Committee does, both on the federal level and at the state level, and explain why participating in is crucial to the future of the industry and to the future for all of our professionals that are members of NAIFA. So great stuff there. NAIFA Live. What an incredible new program we've got. This idea actually germinated out of NAIFA, Minnesota. And what this is it's an opportunity for folks to gather live in one location, hear a high quality speaker, but we can also broadcast that to locations around the country. And with it, folks have an opportunity to not only hear an impactful presentation, but to break up and to meet in small groups to discuss what they've learned, to share their experiences. And that can be done, again, whether you're at the live location, you're at a satellite viewing location with others in your local chapter. Gather with advisors that are local to you. Or if that's not possible, if you just can't make that, you can log in remotely from the comfort of your office or your home or wherever you might be, as long as you can get an internet connection. Absolutely incredible way that we can share great ideas with folks, do it in an incredibly cost-effective way. And in many cases, individual advisors can earn CE if their state has filed for and gotten approval for the CE in their area. So incredible thing there. We've done it 3 months this year. We have now begun to roll this out after testing it throughout 4 states. We're now roll this out nationwide and give folks an opportunity, no matter where they are, to participate and join in NAIFA Live. Incredible experience again. Our new limited and extended care planning center. Talked about that briefly, and this thing's been in the works for probably about 1.5 years, but finally it went live on Monday, March 25th. And with that, we unveiled it at the ILTCA conference at Chicago to great acclaim. Subscribing to the LECP Planning Center right now is free for everyone. So I'd encourage you all, if you do any work in the limited and extended care space, the long-term care space, to check out this center. It's a tremendous resource for advisors, and it's also a tremendous resource for consumers to learn more about the different products that are available. And it's great that NAIFA is the hub for this. We also, as we launched this new center, the industry stepped up. There was a need out there. Folks said, gosh, NAIFA is the best positioned organization to help do this. And through a variety of sponsorships from companies and organizations across the country, we're able to get the funding to make this happen. Tremendous thing. This, by the way, is going to be a model for us as we explore other areas where we can do a very deep dive as the professional association for all advisors. This is just the first, and the Limited and Extended Care Planning Center. And again, if you do any work in this area, right now it's free to join up. So go there, check it out, subscribe, and look at the different advantages, resources that are available through the LEC Planning Center. And then finally, we really believe that NAIFA members serve Americans. And with that, you know, we know through a variety of things that we've studied, and in some various reports that we published just over the course of the past couple of months, that NAIFA members differentiate themselves among others because they really do serve middle and lower income Americans, making sure that every person in this country has the opportunity to get quality advice from an ethical advisor who cares about them and wants to help them put together the right financial plan for their future. Our 2019 survey of NAIFA members found that 9 out of 10 NAIFA members serve middle income Americans, and all have at least some clients that are lower income earners. On top of that, when you drill down a little more, 80% of NAIFA members say that their typical clients, their families, have a combined household income of less than $150,000 a year, and about half say that their typical families that they serve have a total combined income of less than $100,000 a year. So again, NAIFA members aren't serving just the elite, just the uber rich. They're serving folks every day who need sound financial advice. And in most of those cases, people that could not afford to go to a fee-based advisor and pay a hefty fee because A, they don't have those dollars, and B, they don't have enough assets under management to attract those folks. NAIFA members care about average everyday folks, and we're trying to highlight that through our Advisors You Can Trust site. So you'll see a lot of things posted on a variety of social media things that will hashtag Advisors You Can Trust, or will hashtag Main Street USA, or maybe even just hashtag NAIFA Proud. But it's helping us tell the story again that NAIFA members help average, ordinary folks put together the right plan. So you see right there some of the collateral that we've helped put together that helps tell our story to people out in the public as well as policymakers, so they understand who NAIFA members are and the work that they do. And, you know, it's incredibly important because right now, as you all know, So many Americans are struggling to put together the right plan, and 8 out of 10 Americans say that they live paycheck to paycheck each week. The incredible work that NAIFA members do, helping them plan for the future, can help make sure that they have a much more successful life moving forward financially, and that they're better prepared for things as life throws obstacles in their direction and as they move towards retirement. So on Main Street USA, we want to tell the story. And we want to tell the story not just in general, like this graphic you see here, but also tell individual stories about advisors and have the names and faces of NAIFA folks so that they can understand again, so that the public understands again, here is a face of a NAIFA member, and here's the story of what she or he does to best serve their clients. And so we've got a number of stories that are already there on the Main Street USA page, or mainstreetusa.naifa.org. And we're going to look to tell more people's stories too. So if you've got a story you'd like to share, please contact us. We'll put you in contact with our excellent communications team. They can help you put together a nice little blog that again tells your story, and it puts again a face and a name and a real world story to our work that our members do every single day. And then finally, again, we're doing our best to make sure that folks understand that if they want quality advice, they can look for a NAIFA member in their area, because NAIFA members are advisors you can trust. NAIFA members are not only folks that have dedicated themselves to this profession, but have also agreed to abide by a code of ethics, which shows that they are looking after the best interests of their clients each and every day. And we've got a powerful tool on there, the Find an Advisor Locator, which can have a person type in where they're from, state and city, or a zip code, and then it'll help them find advisors who are NAIFA members in their area. So go and check that out and make sure you're listed. And if for some reason you're not, contact us at NAIFA headquarters. This is a great way we think that we can help differentiate NAIFA members from other advisors, and again allow the public to find a trusted advisor in their area that can help them put together their correct financial plan. Again, I want to thank all of you as folks that are engaged in NAIFA for the incredible work that you do each and every day. NAIFA is getting bigger and better and stronger because of the work that you put in. You make a difference in this industry, in this profession, and to your clients by your involvement in NAIFA, your professional association, and it's a privilege to work for you as your CEO. And now I'm going to kick it off to our incredibly talented Senior Vice President of Government Relations, Ms. Diane Boyd.
Thanks, Kevin. We can roll right into the next slide and talk about some of the things that we've been working on. The Main Street message is really something that we deliver on the Hill and continue to use as our advocacy forefront, is that we really support this Main Street financial agenda. We want to ensure that American families can protect themselves against financial risk of either dying too soon, living too long, becoming ill or disabled, and save for retirement. And that's what you guys do. We need to communicate that to the Hill, and that's what we attempt to do day in and day out, both with your professional team here in Washington, as well as utilizing the relationships that we ask you as members to develop with your members of Congress and state legislators back home. And it really does make a difference. If you run through sort of the big topics, tax reform is always on the top of our list. It's always out there. I was at a meeting this morning with Senator Collins, and we were talking about paid family leave. And that seems to be a message that's coming out of the White House. It's something that folks on the House side are talking about. It's something that she's very passionate about. And she mentioned, no one understands that that's what short-term disability income insurance is. So there's sort of a disconnect between what you do and what lawmakers and consumers hear and understand your role to be. And it's our job to make sure that we communicate that on the Hill so that we end up with laws and regulations and policies that allow you to assist those consumers. And so that's something that we're working on. I thought it was a good example because it came out this morning that we'll be talking about. On the retirement savings issue, we expect legislation to be dropped tomorrow. Hopefully it's going to be bipartisan. I think we finally got there in the House. They'll have a markup next week, and it'll go over to the Senate, and we'll start seeing, I think that really is an opportunity where we're going to see a bipartisan policy put forth and hopefully enacted this Congress. And I think we can actually get there on that. Some of the other topics that we're talking about, we're going to do a lot of examination, a lot of hearings, but not so much action. That rolls into financial services. We're seeing a lot of new people in Congress. And so not only are they new to Congress, those that are on committees are also seeing themselves in new roles. So we've had a flip in the House from a Republican majority to a Democratic majority. And if you look at the makeup of this Congress, most of the people haven't been in those other roles. And so they're having to learn. If you're in a sporting event and you've always played defense, you're really not sure how to play offense. And it takes a while to sort of get your footing and establish your new role and your new position. And that's what Congress is doing. In the financial services, and this is where that Main Street message really makes a difference, is they're looking and they're examining as a financial services committee, what should we be looking at? What are the policies that we should consider? We want to make sure all Americans have access to sound financial advice. And I come in and go, are you kidding me? Look at the NAIFA member. We're in every congressional district. We serve every community. We do this. We just need to communicate it. And so that's an opportunity for us to really shine as well. We need numbers, though, to show that we're there. And we need to continue to build our membership, because delivering this message can't be done just with the 3 people that you have as federal lobbyists here in DC. We need large membership in order to be able to deliver those messages in district as well. If you look at healthcare reform, and those of you that know me have heard back when the ACA was enacted, and my youngest son at the time was 4, and the Senate was voting on it on Christmas Eve, and he shouts, it'll never be over. And so as President Trump on Tuesday said, the ACA is unconstitutional, and the Department of Justice came out and is looking at whether they're going to defend the ACA or not. I told Aiden the story. And of course, now he's a teenager, so he's not so much toddler drama as it is teenage attitude. And so he went, I told you so. But you know what? He's right. It's never going to be over. And that's an opportunity for NAIFA. It's an opportunity for NAIFA as an organization, because we're going to help you as members to understand this very complex, constantly fluid, ever-changing environment and landscape that we call healthcare. And you're going to be able to communicate it to your clients and to consumers who are listening to this and saying, what does that mean for me? What does that mean for my policy? What does it mean for my family? How do I get coverage? Is my coverage going to suddenly end? And we need to be that resource, and we are that resource. And it's an opportunity to tell your colleagues that aren't members of NAIFA that they need to be members. And I hope that you can use these stories and the examples of what we do to actually promote membership. Then if you go to some of the advocacy updates, I'll give you a sneak peek into the first 2 weeks of April, because if we went through what we're really doing, I think it's going to be incredibly boring and only fun for me, who tends to be a policy and political nerd. On April 5th, if you go back to healthcare reform, in that it's constantly changing and it's very dynamic, and NAIFA is a leader in this area. NAIFA's been invited to CMS on April 5th, on Friday, and we have 5 of our members that are going to come in, and we're going to sit down with the administration and go through what worked right in the enrollment period, what could be improved, what are some of the changes that we think need to be made, because it's our members that sit across from the consumer and can really give that feedback, and the administration recognizes that, so that's an incredible honor. We're also hosting on April 8th a retirement congressional briefing for members of Congress and their staff to really talk about retirement and why there's a need and an opportunity for Congress to act and make things a little easier for employers to put plans in that would then help consumers to save for retirement. We're looking at, to take sort of the good news and the bad news, then you look at the states. We have over 20 states that are looking at state-run retirement plans, which is all the more reason why we've got to talk about what works, so that we don't have states having a knee-jerk reaction and saying we need to do something because the federal government isn't or the private sector isn't, and we're going to put in these plans. So it's like whack-a-mole. We're constantly knocking things down as they come up, and we do it with education and with the strength of our membership to explain what really happens, what really are our concerns, what really are our opportunities, rather than trying to go to a quick fix that financially isn't sustainable and that isn't necessary. A consumer can walk into any of your offices now and have access to a retirement plan. We don't need the state governments to run those. If you look at fiduciary and the standard of care, we have the, yes, as you know, we had the DOL rule overturned in the courts. So yay for us. We thought we could celebrate. Not so fast. The SEC is still looking at it, and we were making traction there, and I think good traction. But in the meantime, again, the states get a little antsy and they say, well, maybe we need to do something. So we have New York and Nevada and Maryland and New Jersey and Connecticut all looking at a state fiduciary. So we're starting the arguments again, and you have to constantly educate and explain the situations, and we're doing that. An area that you might not realize that NAIFA is even involved in is that we sit on FEMA's private sector advisory, and the month of April is Financial Capability Month. And so you'll start seeing, as you follow us on Twitter and on Facebook, you'll start seeing messaging that FEMA is putting out along with NAIFA and others that say, now is a good time to sit down and what do you need to put together to make sure when disaster, and in this instance, it's actually natural disasters, hit, what do you need to do to be prepared so that financially you're able to weather that storm? And so NAIFA is serving in that role as well. I brought that out just because it's something that we don't talk about very often. It's not something that is on the forefront all the time, but it shows the wide breadth of issues that NAIFA advocates on behalf of our members for, and really makes a difference. I mentioned that we had new faces in Congress. Whenever we start a new Congress, we always try to make sure that we're matching up a NAIFA member with every member of Congress, and consistently we're able to do that, and we reach 100%, and then there's an election and we get all these new people and we have to start over again. And we started this Congress with about an 80% coverage rate, and within the 3 months we're up to 90%. So kudos to you for getting out there, meeting the new members of Congress, offering to serve as a resource, and helping us close those legislative gaps. If we flip to what's coming up next, after we get through the first 2 weeks of April, we'll finish off April, and then we'll move into May, and we'll have our congressional conference, and that's your opportunity to come in and join us and explain to lawmakers what it is that you do. And as I said, I was with Senator Collins this morning, and as we were going through her understanding, because she was an insurance commissioner in Maine, and she has a pretty good understanding of insurance and the role that it plays, that there really isn't that understanding across the board for all members of Congress. And now may be a really good time to sort of go back to the basics, explain what it is that you do, explain what our products do. I can remember an article in one of the newspapers, and it was someone who didn't have health insurance, and he was explaining how awful it was because if he were disabled and not able to work, he wouldn't have income. Well, that's interesting, because even if you had health insurance, that's not what covers it. That's disability income that would replace that. So it's a different type of insurance that was needed. And we need to explain that. And we need to explain it not only to consumers, but to lawmakers as well, so that they understand the role that the organization plays. So I think we're going to see some pretty basic messaging going back, but that makes it fun. That's what you do. You get to go in and say, this is what I do day in and day out, and this is how I help consumers. And you know what? The legislators are going to eat it up. So if you haven't registered for the congressional conference, do. If you have registered, thank you, and invite a friend to come with you, because it really is fun. Show them what the organization has to offer, whether they're a member or a non-member. They're more than welcome to come. We have almost all of the states covered. We're missing South Dakota and Hawaii. So if you have friends in those states, even better. And we look forward to really covering, and we typically do upwards of 90% of the congressional offices. So it really makes an impact on the Hill when the agents show up, and they know the agents are coming, the agents are coming. So it's fun. It's a fun time. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope to see you there. This shows that we do, as I said, we have members in every congressional district, and we have 90% of the congressional districts paired up with a NAIFA member who has a relationship with that member of Congress. So for the 10% that we're missing, if you'll look at our legislative gaps, or if you know a legislator, even if we have somebody already identified as knowing that member of Congress, let us know. It's helpful. We track not only when NAIFA members have a relationship, but which members of Congress actually have some type of tie to the industry, whether they themselves. We have several members of Congress that were former NAIFA members. That makes us very proud. They understand what we do. It makes it a much easier conversation to go in and have, because we know they understand what our issues are. But they may have had a parent that was a NAIFA member or in the industry. And so we track all of that information. So if you have some information along those lines, share it with us. And it helps us do our job better for you. And with that, the only other thing that I'll leave you with is NAIFA's PAC is part of our overall advocacy. And I'm pleased that we finished up the 2018 cycle as the largest insurance industry PAC, which means that we're a good player. It gives us an opportunity with all of those individuals that are new coming into Congress for us to have opportunities to really sit down with them and get to know them. And we need to rebuild our coffers, and that's what we're doing now with our PAC. So we want to make sure that we maintain that strength in the 2020 cycle. So with that, Jill, I think I turn it back over to you.
All right, thanks, Diane. Well, as she mentioned, 2018, we were the largest PAC. Let's make sure we maintain that position. I know many of us are highly competitive, and NAIFA is more formidable if we hold that #1 position. So I would just wrap up by saying, as you can see, a lot is happening here. And I very much appreciate you being on this webinar. Spread the word. Yeah, the new NAIFA is on the move, and we do not want any advisors left behind. I would be remiss if I didn't send out a heartfelt thank you to the NAIFA staff. If you don't have the opportunity to work with them or talk with them, I'll tell you their level of commitment is beyond extraordinary. Just a thought, take a minute today. Maybe you can send them a postcard from your own town. Your town, Main Street, USA. Thank them for what they do. Their commitment, as I mentioned, is extraordinary. Thank you for allowing me to serve you. It is truly my greatest pleasure to be a part of your growth and your professional endeavors and a part of NAIFA's impressive future. I think we open it up for Q&A. I don't know if there were any chat items that needed to be attended to, but I will go ahead and pass this off to whoever is handling those calls. Other than that, have a great day. Looks like we're probably good to go. Are we hearing anything out there? Well, Sarah Decotor, thanks for being on the call. Stephen Good, glad you were around. Tom Ashley, always wonderful having you on board. I'd also like to say, hey, look, we've got people on this call, Mark Aker, who are top of their game, and they still find time in their day to find out what's happening in NAIFA. Proud of all of you. Thank you so much for everything you're doing out there.